Hey professional drivers, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to release a quick video talking about all the maintenance that I've had for the last 4 weeks. So after I totaled all of my maintenance costs for the last 2 weeks, it came out to just shy of $13,000. But I gotta say, believe it or not, out of the almost $13,000, the most ridiculous high cost that I had to pay, which was a mistake made on my part, was when I was stuck out in the middle of New Mexico. Actually, I was pretty close to Vaughn, but I was still out in the middle of nowhere in New Mexico, and I couldn't trace down a coolant leak, and it was getting to the point to where I was getting critically low, and I was hoping that it was going to be a coolant low end hose on the radiator. So we ended up having roadside assistance come out with a couple of hose clamps, because I did have some stripped out hose clamps. So he came out with some hose clamps, and I requested the driver to bring me 4 bottles of coolant, and he brought me the 4 bottles of coolant, and he came out and he inspected, got up in there, and pretty much diagnosed that the top end of my radiator was pretty much blown out. And I guess that's a pretty common thing for the DD15s to nuke a radiator, because he told me that it's a very common issue, and a couple of other mechanics had said the same. But so for 75 miles and 4 bottles of coolant, cost me $560. That is the most expensive coolant I've ever purchased before. Pretty much the meat and potatoes of all of those maintenance charges were a blend of preventive maintenance and just pure breakdowns. And pretty much what started it was the first $3,300 charge that I had that went into replacing 2 of the DPF filters. And then when I went back home, I had a couple of inspections, DOT inspections that I did at a service shop. And I had them really go into depth on the truck and do a detailed maintenance on it. And that ran me almost $1,700. And then I had a water pump go out. That was really expensive, especially having it done at a Love's that did a real shoddy job. A couple of roadside assistance calls, and then a total radiator replacement, and then 2 NOx sensors, and 1 coolant pigtail, and 4 bottles of coolant that was hot shotted out to me. And just like any loaned credit line, I'm gonna have to pay all of that back to Nova. And the great thing about the credit lines through Nova is you could talk to the maintenance division and come up with a payment that suits you best. But as of right now, I think I'm over the hump. I was speaking to a very talented and highly experienced mechanic at the Premier Truck Group in Salt Lake City who did the work on my truck. He'd been in the industry for about 30 plus years, and he told me that I should be pretty much over that 500,000 mile hump, that I have literally replaced everything within the last 14 months that needed to get replaced at that 500,000 mile mark. Now my truck will be paid off the middle of February. I'm hoping what Nova will do is just capture everything that I still owe them and then tack it onto the price of the truck so I can get it paid off. I was asking that mechanic, should I trade in the truck and get rid of it since I'm already having these problems? And he urged me not to, because he did say that the Gen 5s on the Freightliner Cascadias were having serious mechanical complications that still need to be worked out at an engineering level from Freightliner. So I got my fingers crossed. I think the next thing that could possibly go out of my truck, if I could stay out of sub-zero weather for long periods of time, but probably the next thing that's going to be knocking on the door to maintenance is my EGR cooler. The EGR cooler on this truck is the original from the factory, and since everything on these Freightliners are made out of plastic, anytime you get into super cold temperature, just normal wear and tear on plastic parts, something's doomed to fail. And if that EGR cooler on my truck goes out, that'll probably be about a $4,000 bill. Fingers crossed I can dodge that bullet. If any of y'all have a question about anything on any of my content videos, leave a comment down below. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe I am a very small channel trying to grow, and it helps my channel to be seen within the algorithm. And professional drivers, I hope y'all have a safe weekend. I know there's some nasty weather up in the Rockies and west of the Rockies. And you can't forget about them four-wheelers. Boy, do they get crazy at times all over this country. Old Rookie, signing off.